Okay, we will call regular council meeting for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024 to order. As we gather, we are reminded that the town of Bonnyville is situated on Treaty 6 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and is the traditional homeland and home to First Nation and Métis people today. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nation, Métis, and all First People of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our community. Before us, we have an agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Nothing from administration, Your Worship.
Thank you. Motion to accept the agenda, please, as presented. Councillor Sharoon? No. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next we have the council meeting minutes from January 9th, 2024. Were there any additions or deletions? Seeing none. Councillor McAvoy?
Yes, I will move adoption of the minutes of the agenda of the January 9th, 2024 regular council meeting.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, first up we have bylaw for establishing a naming committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the December 19th Governance and Priorities Committee meeting, administration was directed to create a draft naming committee bylaw to replace current bylaw number 1374-11. Draft bylaw number 1562-24 was presented to the committee meeting on January 16th for review and comments. Recommendations from the committee have been included in this draft being presented this evening. The naming committee passed a resolution at their September 6th meeting to increase the number of council members on the committee from 2 to 3. As the naming committee bylaw was last updated in 2011, administration has prepared a new bylaw with a corresponding policy to ensure they are consistent with one another, as well as further amendments to update the bylaw and add the addition of the third council member to the committee. Bylaw number 1562-24 has been drafted in conjunction with policy number 23 AD097 and is being presented for first reading tonight with the intent that it will be presented at the February 13th meeting for final approval. Administration is recommending that council provide first reading to bylaw number 1562-24.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? No. All right, looking for a motion for first reading, please. Councillor Blanchette.
I'll move that council provide first reading to bylaw number 1562-24, establish a naming committee.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have bylaw for the temporary borrowing bylaw.
Thank you. The town is required to pass a temporary borrowing bylaw annually for the purpose of financing operating expenditures should the need arise. The amount of the maximum borrowing in bylaw number 1563-24 is $2.562 million, which is unchanged from last year's authorized amount. The interest rate remains the same at prime plus 1%. Bylaw number 1545-23 will be repealed with the passage of this new bylaw. The $2.562 million authorized is well below the $8.4 million that the town is permitted to borrow under the Municipal Government Act. Currently, we do not anticipate having to borrow for operating. Administration is recommending that council provide 3 readings to bylaw number 1563-24.
Okay, any questions before we go into? Oh, Councillor Sharoon?
Madam Mayor, just out of curiosity, have we gone into that in the last 2 years?
No, we have not. The only thing that we do use within that bylaw would be the credit card amount, which is about $63,000. That's included in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if there's no other questions, we're looking for 3 readings on this bylaw. Councillor McAvoy?
Madam Mayor, I will give first reading to the borrowing bylaw.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion for second reading, please. Councillor Langridge?
I will move second reading, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Motion to proceed to third reading. Councillor Kushner.
I will give motion to proceed to third and final reading.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And then a motion for third and final reading. Councillor Johnson.
I'll make the motion to provide third and final reading of bylaw 1563-24.
All in favor? That's carried. All right. Next up, amending our bylaw, establishing a governance and priorities committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. Attached in your packages is a copy of amending bylaw 1559-24 to establish the Governance and Priorities Committee. The original bylaw was passed in July of 2023. We've had several meetings of the committee since that time, and the matter before you this evening is to allow for a couple of tweaks to procedures and a few amendments to the existing bylaw. Chiefly among them would be the ability to go in camera to consider delegations, for example, and that presentation materials be provided to the executive assistant by the Wednesday prior to the meeting. And if council has no problems with these amendments, we'd recommend that you pass all 3 readings to the amending bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions before proceeding to or passing the bylaw? No? All right, so motion for first reading, please. Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would make a motion that we do first reading to amending bylaw 1559-24 and a bylaw to amend bylaw 1551-23.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Motion for second reading. Councillor McAvoy?
I will move second reading of bylaw 1559-24.
All in favor? Carried. And a motion to proceed to third reading. Councillor Johnson?
I'll move that we proceed into third reading.
All in favor? Carried. And a motion for third and final reading. Councillor Blanchette?
I'll move third and final reading, Madam Mayor.
All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, our financials, the bank reconciliation for December 2023.
Thank you. At the end of December, our ATB bank balance was $26,929,720. Our NDA account had a balance of $224,057, and included in our bank balance was funds for the Frog Lake Tie and Design Grant with a remaining balance of $27,600.57. We ask that Council accept the December 2023 bank reconciliation report as presented.
Okay. Any questions? Bank reconciliation? No? Okay. Motion to accept as presented, please. Councillor Shuren? I will move. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, council representation for LICA and SPCA committees.
I can speak to that, Your Worship. Due to scheduling conflicts, Councillor Blanchette has some time conflicts with regards to being the delegate for the LICA committee. Councillor Kushner has a similar time commitment constraints with regards to the SPCA. They would both like to switch, and the recommendation is that Council appoint Councillor Kushner as the delegate to the LICA committee and appoint Councillor Blanchette to the SPCA committee for the remainder of the one-year term. Then this will be revisited at future organizational meetings.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? No, we're looking for a motion then, please. Councillor Johnson?
I'll make the motion that council appoint Councillor Kushner as the delegate to LICA committee and appoint Councillor Blanchette to the SPCA committee for the remainder of the year.
All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you.
Northern Woods and Water Highway Association membership.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. An email was received from Dale Harrison with Northern Woods and Water Association outlining the benefits of becoming a member of their association. The cost of a membership for the town would be $2,200, which would include space in their highway guide, as well as an online presence by linking the town website visitors section to the NWWR's website. The NWWR runs from Dawson Creek to Winnipeg across northern Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. This request for membership was presented at the January 16th Governance and Priorities Committee meeting for review and comments. The committee directed administration to prepare a request for decision and present it to council tonight for approval. We are recommending that council approve the town of Bonnyville becoming a member of the Northern Woods and Water Highway Association, with funding to come from the economic development initiatives included in the 2024 interim operating budget.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Johnson?
Just a comment, this kind of doubles up on what we're doing already with Go East to Edmonton. I think Go East kind of fits us a little bit better than this, being more of a northern, a northern thing. And we don't really have any camping in Bonnyville, things like that as of yet. Maybe in the future, if we do have campsites in town and different activities, maybe, but I don't think I would be in favor of this at point. I think Go East of Edmonton serves us a little bit better, and it'd be kind of a duplication.
Any other questions, comments? I would concur with your comments. It was interesting to even look on the map. I mean, Bonnyville's not even, they don't even have us on the map. So hopefully they do get to be a stronger organization and, can add to the tourism and the exposure that it brings to the town. But I just don't see any benefit for us being a member at this time either. How does council feel? Do we need a motion then?
Well, we would ask for a motion.
Yeah.
Your
To
worship,
decline
maybe
if
possibly a
you're-
motion to approve funding, and then if it gets defeated, it gets defeated.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Okay, we can do it that way, I suppose. Councillor Shurton?
I will go ahead and make that motion that we approve the association membership to Northern Woods and Water Highways.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, sponsorship and donation policy amendment.
Thank you. At the December 13th, 2022 council meeting, council approved policy number 22-FN-083, the sponsorships and donations policy. This policy establishes guidelines for responding to donation or sponsorship requests from nonprofit organizations, registered charities, and community groups. A review of this policy was recently conducted and was also reviewed by the Governance and Priorities Committee. Amendments have been included to update this policy. All donations or sponsorship requests over $250 are brought to an open council meeting for approval. Policy number 22-FN-083 has been amended to include Schedule A, community sponsorship and donation fee, schedule which outlines amounts for certain events and organizations. We are recommending that the word fee be dropped from the schedule as it is misinterpreted that we are charging a fee. The amounts outlined in this schedule will be the basis that administration will provide in the recommendation brought before council for funding requests. Council will have the option to approve the funding request based on the schedule, or if the request is over the amount listed in the schedule, up to the actual requested amount. This policy has also been amended to shorten the timeline for when requests are to be submitted to administration from 60 days to 30 days, as was recommended by the Governance and Priorities Committee. Administration is recommending that council approve policy number 02-FN-083 as amended.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Are there any questions? No, we did discuss it at the Governance and Priorities Committee. All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve the policy then as amended. Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would make a motion that we approve policy number 22-FN-083 as amended.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, Clayton Bellamy Foundation for the Arts funding request.
Thank you. Attached is an email from Lise Fielding with the Clayton Bellamy Foundation for the Arts requesting a check for the 2024 funding requested for the Strathcona Performing Arts Center. The foundation submitted a request for a donation in the amount of $50,000, which has been included in the 2024 interim operating budget. The town provided a donation in the amount of $100,000 in 2023 for this project. As this donation is included in the 2024 interim operating budget, and due to the amount of the request, council approval is required to release the funds prior to the finalization of the 2024 final operating budget, which occurs in April. With the further $50,000 donation, the town will receive the visionary branding opportunity, which has a value of $150,000. The town logo would be placed inside the theater on the donor wall under visionary contributors, as well as name dedication on 4 seats and an annual ticket package for 4 people to attend 4 performances, as well as brand awareness on the website. Administration is recommending that council approve the funding request to the Clayton Bellamy Foundation for the Arts in the amount of $50,000.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just wondering, are they on schedule? I don't know if administration knows the answer to these questions or not. Is everything going the way it's supposed to be going? I know we've already talked about this $50,000 going forward anyway, but just for my...
With regards to their schedule...
sorry, Bill?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Your worship, I can chip in a little bit. The last time I spoke with the foundation director, she indicated that the project had been broken into a couple of phases, with phase 1 being currently what you see going on over there. I'm not 100% sure where they are in terms of the total funding for the project or progress for this phase, but just that they are planning on tackling it in various phases. So hopefully that's a bit of help.
Thank you. Okay, so we're looking for a motion, please, Council. Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, I'd be willing to make the motion to provide the approved funding request to the Clayton Bellamy Foundation for the Arts in the amount of $50,000. And I do appreciate them recognizing us as a donor for our total contribution of $150 to the project over the last 2 years.
Great. Okay, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, next, the Northeastern Alberta Alliance for Growth and Opportunities, membership fee.
Thank you. Attached is an email from the mayor of the town of Smoky Lake on behalf of the Northeast Alberta Alliance for Growth and Opportunities, requesting feedback regarding a proposed membership fee increase for 2024. The membership fee proposed for towns over 2,000 is $1,400. In 2023, the town contributed $1,200 to this committee for Highway 28 lobbying efforts. If approved for 2024, funds will be used to continue joint lobbying efforts on behalf of the Nago region. As the 2023 contribution was expected to be a one-time fee, the 2024 interim budget does not include funding for the membership fee proposed by the committee. Administration is recommending that council approve funding for the proposed membership fee request from Nago for 2024, with funds to be added to the 2024 final budget.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I do like where this is going with NAGO. I think we got some traction with Highway 28, and I think anytime we can get together with the rest of the municipalities in the area and even outside of our area, really, this is a good thing. So I would have no problem supporting the extra $200 fund.
Councillor Sharon?
Yeah, just a question out to the members who sit on that committee. Do we have a plan as to what's happening over the next 2 years, or is there something? I know we had some overlay at Highway 28 here near Ashmont. Is there a plan from the provincial government bringing down to us? Because when the minister was here, they said that they were going to start some studies and get the ball rolling. And so, any ideas where?
A plan for Highway 28?
Yes.
I haven't heard anything.
If I can speak to that a little bit, Your Worship. We had some conversations with Michael Bratros, the regional transportation representative for this area, a few weeks ago, and he said it is in the engineering stage. They're in the planning stages. Typically, when you do engineering for a roadway, you could expect construction within 24 to 36 months. He didn't say that, but that's a pretty standard practice, so your documents are still all current. But they are working at looking at the improvements specifically between Bonnyville and Highway 63. And then as well, between Bonnyville and Cold Lake is going to be looked at as a separate project. But the portion that they're concentrating on right now is from Highway 63 eastward to Bonnyville.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would agree with your comments, Councillor Kushner. I think this is a really great advocacy group for the Northeast. It's a good opportunity for us to get together with those municipalities and communities that have the same, not just issues, but things going on that are up here in the Northeast that, sometimes we know that we get forgotten. And so the louder a voice that we can get, the better. I know Highway 28 continues to be one of the advocacy efforts, as well as the health sector, health industry. So they've created 2 subcommittees to focus on those two priority areas. So, yes. All right. Okay. Yeah. So we are looking for a decision. Councillor Langridge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would give you the motion that council approve funding for the proposed membership fee request from NAGO for 2024 with the funds to be added to the 2024 final budget.
All right, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Where am I at here? Okay, next, Lakeland Lacrosse Association Ice Melter Tournament, a funding request.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attached is a sponsorship and donation request form from Chelsea Tilbury, Tournament Director of the Lakeland Lacrosse Association, requesting funding in the amount of $10,000 for the 10th annual Ice Melter Tournament being held in Bonnyville and Cold Lake from May 10th to 12th, 2024. The tournament will host teams from across the province, and they are expecting approximately 1,000 athletes and their families to attend. In 2023, the town sponsored this event in the amount of $250. Although administration is recommending that council approve a sponsorship in the amount of $250 for this event, as per the sponsorship and donations policy, it is important to note that due to the size of the tournament, the C2 will be used along with the Energy Center, North Arena, and JJ Park. Also important to note is that MCS Net has donated $2,500 towards this tournament, and the Lakeland Lacrosse Association has requested funding in the amount of $10,000 from the City of Cold Lake. Should council wish to become a legacy partner, which would include full-page logo recognition in the virtual tournament program and at the arenas, posts on social media, sponsorship thank you at the gold medal game, and a post-event video highlighting key moments and showcasing the impact of the sponsorship, the donation amount is between $5,000 and $10,000.
All right, thank you. I'll open it up for questions or comments. Councillor Langridge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through to administration, refresh my memory. Last year, we had declined their request for, I believe, the same amount of $10,000 as there was no games being hosted in our community. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And this year, they're saying that there will be games hosted in our community?
They've listed the C2 as one of the playing surfaces, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, Councillor Kushner.
Oh, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll take a shot at it. So through to administration, I know the $250. We've had tournaments in the past of course, in and around Bonnyville. Where does this kind of fit, the 250 and the 10,000? Like, I know they're all different, a little bit different, but is there, to me, 250 doesn't seem like a lot, and 10,000 seems like a lot. So that's where I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around it.
The policy that was just presented earlier this evening said any local teams, tournaments would get $250, and it's up to council's discretion what kind of economic benefit it would bring to the community to go any higher than that. So their request is for 10,000. It's up to council to go from 250 to 10,000.
Hi, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, just to chip into what Renee's saying, Your Worship, the policy guidelines are, they're pretty straightforward, and $250 covers your average, your average minor hockey tournament, a track and field meet, and things like that. But then there's other outliers that that council contributes a great deal more to each year, and I call as an example the Ronald McDonald winter tournament coming up in the next month or so, so it's something council supports heavily. So when it comes to the policy recommendations, but then something like this comes up that looks like a square peg in a round hole, which is a big event that has a great deal of exposure for the town of Bonnyville, that's usually when we sit down and say, okay, the guidelines say this, but council might want to consider these other factors just in case.
Yeah, Councillor Johnson.
Other groups like the Ronald McDonald Charity and that come as a delegation for these large amounts, and we're just getting a request for $10,000. I would like to hear from them. If they're asking for that much money, just instead of this, I would like to see them come to council so we can ask them some questions, because I think it was a couple of years ago they were hosting a tournament. C2 was supposed to have it, and then they didn't get enough teams, so they didn't have anything in Bonnyville. Everything was in Coal Lake. So the last thing I want to do is give a bunch of money and then have nothing happen in town again. So I would like to see them come before us if we're planning on giving more than $250.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd like to see us give a larger donation. I think irregardless, if they're saying 1,000 athletes, there's no way they're all staying in Cold Lake. With how busy their hotels are right now, they're definitely going to be staying in the town of Bonnyville. They're going to drive through the town of Bonnyville. And if there's the off chance that we can support this tournament and continue showing support for it, then seeing them use our facility more and more. We also have a rec committee that is regional, so that comes to play as well when I'm thinking of these decisions. What is the purpose of this regional rec committee bringing on and hosting? Is it all about just positioning the town of Bonnyville, or is it working as a region? So I'm just telling you guys things that are playing in my mind. I'd like to see us support this tournament in the amount of $5,000. They're not using as many surfaces as they are in Cold Lake, but they do say that they're using the C2. So I don't know if I could justify $10,000, but I'd like to see us go higher for sure. Councillor Kushner?
Yeah, good points there, but I also like Councillor Johnson's. I would like to actually have a little presentation from them. Further to your point, they're saying approximately 1,000 athletes and their families to attend. Well, the Alberta Winter Games has 3,000 athletes. That is a big tournament, 1,000 people. 1,000 athletes is a big, big tournament. So I wouldn't have a problem at all, and I agree with you, they are going to use our services. They're not going to have enough services in the city of Cold Lake for this. But I would like to see what they would have to say. We make other groups come to us when they start doing with these big amounts. So I would like us to see us table this until we get some information from them. Because for us to go even $5,000 without a heck of a lot of information from them, I'm not quite comfortable with that.
Well, then I would put it out to you, what more information do you guys want to see that's not already on their application? Because maybe it's a fact-finding thing that administration could do. I'm just saying, if we're going to ask them to come, what more do you specifically want?
I would like to see a schedule of the C2, what games are being played when, how many games there are. Is there 3 games in the town of Bonnyville? Is there 30 games in the town of Bonnyville? I would like to know that, when we get something from, let's say, Ronald McDonald House, there's a whole schedule of exactly when the games are, where they're played, everything. And
we get that after they schedule it, after we send the.
Well, but that's also, we've been doing it for years, though.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for years. But so we're anticipating that. We're here,
Yeah.
further to Councillor Johnson's point, they were coming to the C2, and then all of a sudden they didn't have enough players. So I would like a little bit more confidence that we know they're coming here. That would be my point.
Is that something that we can reach out to the group? Because we have time. The tournament is in May. Can we reach out to them? and
We could do
see
that,
if
Your
we
Worship.
can-
We
if
could
can
reach
get
out
the
to them,
information?
invite them to come as a delegation to next month's regular council meeting, and we
They can
could
come to
bring.
the governance and community and priorities meeting as well.
Okay, we will, okay, we'll do that and have them come to the committee, and then we'll bring this back to a future, bring the staff rec back to a future council meeting, if that
And just
suits.
let them know we're looking for more reassurance of what they'll be.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
Okay. All right, so we will wait for that. Is the rest of council on board with this? It's hard when, okay? Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, request for donation, Lakeland Panthers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attached is a sponsorship request form from Corey Welsh from the Lakeland Panthers U15 AA Hockey Club, requesting a sponsorship in the amount of $1,500 to assist with the costs to attend the Alberta Winter Games taking place in Grand Prairie during the Family Day long weekend, February 16th to 19th, 2024. In March of 2022, Council donated $250 towards the U15 AA Provincial Tournament. Administration is recommending that Council approve a donation for the Lakeland Panthers U15 AA Hockey Club to attend the Alberta Winter Games taking place in Grand Prairie in the amount of $250.
Okay. Any questions? Councillor Langridge?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a little bit of, I guess, I'm familiar with the Winter Games and the changes they've gone through this time around. So in the past 10 to 15 to 20 years, normally the Winter Games would have a selection process, so a tryout camp where we'd be fortunate to have, you know, 2 or 3, a handful of Lakeland-born players representing a zone. They've now pivoted. This will be the first year that they've pivoted away and gone back to the model that was previous to it, where teams will actually play down for the opportunity to earn their way to the Winter Games. So this is the first time that in probably 20 years that we're going to have a team that is all Lakeland-born players representing us at the Alberta Winter Games. So I would like to see us to support this event and to give them their full ask of $1,500. It's just them being able to go to what could be the biggest stage for some of them and some of these young men for the largest event that they might ever attend, and representing our region for the first time, like I said, as a whole Lakeland group instead of just a few players from our region. So, but I can let everybody else's opinion.
Anybody else? Any other comments? Councillor McAvoy?
I will agree with Councillor Langridge on this one. I think that is a good change in the Winter Games strategy, and I would as well support his motion.
Okay, go ahead.
So I will make a motion on that, Madam Mayor, to support the Lakeland Panthers U15 AA Hockey Club to attend the Alberta Winter Games taking place in Grand Prairie for the amount of $1,500.
Motion on the floor, but I'm going to have some debate, if you're okay with that. We don't normally do that, but since you have a motion, I would be against that. We've had many teams who come here and have requested funding for out-of-town attending provincials. I think just in this past year, wasn't there a Panthers team that did come? And it's hard to justify, sending a team to another community You know, I'm not saying we don't support them, but financially, for me, that would be really, really hard to justify. And it hasn't been our practice in the past. You know, if it's here, it's a totally different conversation. But out of town, I wouldn't be able to support that, sorry. I like your thinking, though. Motion on the floor. Any other debate before we call the motion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Interesting. Okay. Next. Oh, attendance at the 2024 Alberta Association Agriculture Society Conference.
Oh, yes, thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Sharoon, as a member of the Bonnyville Ag Society Board, is requested to attend the 2024 Alberta Association of Ag Societies Conference, which is going to be held, I believe, next week in Edmonton. And as this is a new event, we have not budgeted for this, and we don't have funds included in our interim operating budget, so this would need approval from council. Our recommendation, the additional cost not included, would be about $1,150 for conference registration and accommodations. Our recommendation is that council approve Councillor Sharoon's attendance at the Society's conference with funds to come from the 2024 operating budget.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, looking for a motion, please. Councillor Kushner.
Yeah, I'll give the motion that we approve Councillor Sharoon's attendance at the 2024 Alberta Association of Agricultural Societies Conference with funds to come from the 2024 operating budget.
Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, committee reports. We'll start with Byron.
Alrighty, January 10th, I had the Ohana Center manager and myself met with CAO Rogers here at Town Hall. And also on January 10th, I attended the webinar Impact of Housing in Rural Economic Development. January 11th, I traveled to Lac La Biche with most of council to have lunch and a meeting with the Portage College Board. January 16th, I attended the Governance and Priorities Committee meeting here in council chambers. January 18th, FCSS meeting. January 20th, I attended the Malanka Kryla Dancers dinner and show. Hats off to Councillor Sharoon. He has still got the moves up there performing. He is one heck of a dancer. Quite envious of him. And congratulations, Councillor Sharoon. You did a really good job, as did the entire dance team, so it was great to see. It was a lot of fun. And then last night we had a C2 meeting. That's all for me.
Just a short report for myself. One meeting, January 16th, the Governance and Priorities meeting, and that's all I have.
I had the, on the 10th of January, I had the Impact of Housing on Rural Economic Development meeting. On the 14th, or on the 11th, we drove to Portage College to meet with the Board of Directors. On the 16th, Governance and Priorities Committee meeting. On the 17th, Lakeland Lodge and Housing in Coal Lake. Just something that came out of there. We're having staff shortages in basically every department, from housekeeping to cooking to care in both locations. On the 18th, I had local government fiscal framework, capital and operating, and on how they fund it. And that's all for me.
Excellent. All right. So January 11th, I also attended our luncheon with Portage College. On January 18th, I attended the Covenant Health AGM. And then in the afternoon on the 18th, I attended my first DMO board meeting. And then on January 22nd, the C2 meeting as well.
January 10th, I had the webinar on the impact of housing and rural economic development. January 11th, also attended the meeting with Portage College. January 12th, signed checks for Lakeland Lodge and Housing. January 15th, a Bonnyville Wellness Coalition meeting. January 16th, Governance and Priorities Committee. January 17th, the Alberta Hub meeting in Vermilion with Councillor Kushner, followed by a Lakeland Lodge and Housing Board meeting in Cold Lake. January 18th, briefly, the AB Muni's LGFF presentation. I had a scheduling conflict, so I couldn't stay for the whole thing. I had an FCSS board meeting following that. January 19th, FCSS AA board meeting in Edmonton, and I also attended Milanka on January 12th. That's all for me.
Okay, I, on the 10th, I also attended the Impact of Housing and Rural Economic Development webinar. On the 11th, with most of council, attended the meeting with Portage College in Lac La Biche. On the 15th, I attended a planning meeting for the upcoming Let's Go Rural Medical Student event. You can put that down for the mayor, she was there too. And which is going very well at the moment. Last check, we are at our 30 students, which are potential doctors and nurses that will be attending on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February here for the event. On the 18th, I attended the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority meeting. As well, on the 18th, I attended the LGFF Capital webinar. And on the 20th, I got to watch David dance extremely well at Milanka. On to you, Phil.
Thank you. January 10th, webinar, Impact of Housing and Rural Economic Development. January 15th, Municore meeting, regular scheduled. 16th, Governance Priorities meeting. 17th, Alberta Hub and Vermilion. They had some really interesting stuff about economic corridors that they're going to be trying to put together for northeastern Alberta. I'm actually quite excited with that, and that was with Councillor Blanchette as well. January 18th, the BRFA meeting. Again on the 18th, the Alberta Munis LGFF explained, basically, tried to explain that to us. And then on the 19th, I had SPCA bylaw meetings, or bylaw committee meeting. That was all for me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under correspondence, we have our business licensing report from October to December. Councillor Sharon?
Yes, I have a question on the business licensing report. How many of these are home-based businesses? And what is the protocol? Are we able to share these new lists with the chamber so they could get in touch with them and perhaps do their spiel and let them know what services they offer in our community? Just out of curiosity.
Bill?
I think, well, Renee, go ahead. You can.
Yeah, as for home-based businesses, I'm unsure as to which ones of these would be home-based, and we can definitely share business license information with the chamber.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, next we have a letter from the Minister of Mental Health and Addiction regarding the Lakeland Regional Recovery Center. And then we have the strategic plan update for the 2023 fourth quarter. And then, as always, we have our Appendix A, council receptions and public relations up to January 18th. Any questions? No? All right, we have nothing in camera. Motion to adjourn?